About 5 years ago, I met Shantamani, the artist, in Bangalore. She was a sculptor and I was, a storytelling organization. And I said, how can you use sculpture to tell stories?
We discussed about my work and this particular hand casting project that I had done earlier during my Ganga journey.
Then told me about this project that she'd done on the banks of the river Ganga in India, capturing stories of ordinary people, casting their hands, then making short videos. I thought, well, how incredible it would be to do something like that in Settle. This project, Life in Our Hands, started with us wanting to capture the stories of older people, so 50 plus. We want, a range of different voices, and tried to have a sense of different views and a different way of looking at the world. Because if we don't capture their stories now, then it could be too late.
Camera has certain kind of power. When you actually go and put a camera and talk to them, they become really a subject. Here, I really didn't wanted that to happen. I really wanted to create a space where camera becomes a third entity and the person who is narrating and the person who is listening becomes part of it. So it is the way they can actually share their personal stories and journeys. The idea of casting hand was about getting them to sit down. So you sit down with them and you are actually holding their hands. There is an intimate space between you and the narrator. So far it's been very interesting to see how they actually feel at ease when you're actually touching their hand, when you're actually making the mold. The warmth and the texture and the coldness of the plaster, the heat that it generates after a while, it changes the way a person narrates their story.
I think we have always tried to put people at their ease. Often we're interviewing people in their own spaces, their own homes or workspaces, places where they feel comfortable.
You have to be in that space of sharing. It's no longer about narration, but it's about sharing. Once the hand is casted, I bring it back to the joinery where we actually strengthen the plaster cast by pouring a little more of plaster around it. We make cotton rag pulp, form a wet sheet, press that into the mold. Within 3 weeks, I think it dries up and then we have this impression of their hand.
People have talked about farming, about sheep, about wool, about the challenges of the internet and the digital revolution. The challenges that ordinary local working people face are some of the subjects that have been touched on. And then the changes as well, how the place has changed.
Their personal stories are something that actually kind of construct what this town is about. Once you put the whole thing together, you actually can see how each one's contribution matters, no matter who they are.
I've heard about people's passions, the things that inspire them and how they view and see the community that we all live within.
Listening to their stories, I have seen the kind of caring that one has within the community. And it's a big hope when I meet a farmer who has a great concern about what will be the next or what will be ecologically right thing to do. It is really about caring the future.
Everybody that we've spoken to has felt a real love for Settle, a real love for this community, for the Dales. In the end, I think that all these portraits have shown me is how much everyone cares about each other within this small community.